Food is expensive. College is also expensive. If you put the two together, it probably wouldn't surprise you that the cost of food at college is very expensive. But really, how expensive can it be? According to the Heshinger report, the average cost of a meal plan per school year for college students in the United States is $4,500. But is this really true? At many schools, meal plans are mandatory for students that live in college owned residences, and every school has their own meal plan style on how they charge students. Generally, the two meal plan types are all inclusive or pay as you go. The all inclusive meal plan means that as long as a student has a meal plan card, they are able to eat at any of the dining halls on campus for free. When you go to a school with an all inclusive meal plan, everyone will be paying the same price. The pay as you go meal plan is a little different because there are usually different tiers to the meal plan. For example, there may be 4 different tiers for a meal plan, and every higher tier costs more money. An example of meal plan options might look a little something like this. In this case, the bronze plan costs $3,250. The silver plan costs $3,800. The gold plan costs $4,450. The platinum plan costs $4,900. With the pay-as-you-go meal plan, if you buy a more expensive plan, you are only limiting yourself to having to spend more money on the limited amount of food that the school provides. And trust me, nobody wants to be stuck in meal plan prison. There's also a variation of the pay-as-you-go plan at some schools where you can buy blocks of meals. Blocks are purchased in packs of 10, 50, 100, etc. Each block represents one meal, and the more blocks you buy, the less expensive it will cost per meal, as the school wants to encourage you to buy more blocks. Buying blocks of meals is more commonly seen with commuter schools or students that have access to cooking equipment because they don't need to rely on the school to feed them, as they can more easily cook themselves. Here's an example of a block meal plan situation. At this school, 10 blocks cost $137, 25 blocks cost $307, 50 blocks $555, and 100 blocks $1,014. As we can see, the more blocks you buy, the less each individual block costs. My recommendation for the pay-as-you-go meal plan would be to buy the least expensive plan and try and then budget yourself as good as possible. Also, for a pay-as-you-go meal plan, try and make some meals in your own living space, which honestly can be very tricky. Depending on the type of living accommodation that you have, you might not get a sink, oven, microwave, or even a refrigerator. Thankfully, those appliances are usually in most common areas for residences, and you can usually bring your own mini fridge in your room as well, which I would highly recommend. If you have a mini fridge, you are able to make cereal, sandwiches, even some TV dinners as well. To show you how high meal plans can cost, at Wellesley College in Massachusetts, the meal plan costed $8,272 during the 2019-2020 school year. To be fair, the food that is made there looks incredible compared to any college that I've seen before, but still, over $8,000 on food for the school year is not reasonable for the average person. To put into perspective how much students are spending at Wellesley College, let's look at how much these costs are per day. Since students are at school usually for 8 months from September to the end of April, it means that a student spends 243 days at school. Assuming you stick to the regular 3 meals per day, that means a student is having about 729 meals during the school year, which with the $8,272 meal plan turns out to be $11.30 per meal, or $34 a day on meals. The sad reality is that this is what schools want you to believe your spending looks like for meals at school. When you look at the school year and take into account how many days a student is actually spending at school, it is much less than 243 days. When you subtract the exam break, which is usually at least 2 weeks, and then subtract the reading week for each semester, and then some students may not be at school for other reasons, the real amount of days that a student is at school for is at most 215 days, or 645 meals. When looking at Wellesley College meal plan, the average meal costs $12.8 per meal, or $38.50 a day. What we've been looking at so far is the highest end of the spectrum, which is Wellesley College. To look at the problem objectively, we must research some other meal plans to get a better idea of the average. To get an idea of the meal plan cost in America, we're going to look at the cost of 12 randomly selected colleges that have all-inclusive meal plans in order to understand what students are paying. As you can see, there's a wide variation of meal plan costs in America. Temple University, $4,022, University of Virginia, $5,480, Tulane University, $6,750, Princeton, $7,060, Johns Hopkins, $7,460, and Wellesley College at the top with $8,272. If we were to take the average cost of the 12 schools on this chart as to how much they make students pay for all-inclusive meal plans, we would see that the average cost is $6,384. Maybe I randomly selected the higher price schools for meal plans by accident, as the Heisinger report puts the average meal plan at $4,500. Either way, this is still an incredibly high amount of money to spend on food. Feeding America, an organization that combats food insecurity in the United States, has stated that the average cost for a meal in America is $3.02. When comparing the average meal cost of regular Americans to students, it is a scary reality for how much money it costs for food. On this graph, I've included the 12 schools I mentioned before, the averages for the meal plan cost for these schools, the Heisinger Report average, and the Feeding America average. The extraordinary discrepancy for food costs per school year really start to jump out at you when you look at this chart. First, what you see is the massive gap between the Feeding America cost compared to every other one. If you take the Heisinger average for cost of meals, it is more than double the cost of the Feeding America cost per meal average. If you look at the difference between the Feeding America average and my research, you can see that the average American spends 3 times as less than the average college student does per year. All of this financial sadness will make you wonder how to save money on food at school, and I have a few tips for you. If you're considering going to college, always be aware of the fees that aren't spoken about, such as the cost of a meal plan. Make sure you are saving the most money on food by eating out less and making food yourself more. If you can get a mini fridge, this investment might be over $100, but in college, that's only about 10 meals. The money that you will be saving over time through being able to store cold or even frozen grocery items is not only cost efficient, but is definitely more convenient than having to walk a distance for a late night snack. The main takeaway from this is that food is really expensive in college, and hopefully the price of the meal plan doesn't scare you from going to the institution of your choice. Always do your research first and plan ahead on the meal plan you want, if you have a choice, and how you'll be able to adapt to fit your own needs. Let me know in the comments or any of my social media pages what topics you'd like to hear from me. Thank you, and like and subscribe.